Today we're looking at two Wonderkid fullbacks. They are twins. They are 16 years old. One's a left back, one's a right back. They've got exactly the same current ability. They've got exactly the same hidden attributes. They have got exactly the same potential ability. Let's follow their careers and see how they get on. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Taylor Brothers story at Bath City. We are starting out with a 75 current ability, 200 potential as mentioned in the intro, mercenary personality. We'll show you the hidden attributes in a second. Here's George Taylor. This is his attribute breakdown. This is his current set of hidden attributes. There we go. 18 ambition, 1 loyalty, pressure, consistency, important matches and professionalism. All sky high. As well as controversy because, you know, we want to see them kick off and move clubs a little bit. So there's George Taylor for you, ladies and gentlemen. And his brother, his twin brother, Benjamin Taylor, born on exactly the... Have I set them to the same day? Of course I have. I've set them to the same day. That was very silly of me to potentially not do that because they're twins. I've even gone to the effort of making the mid-journey faces look like each other. They don't look 16, do they? But you win some, you lose some. Of course, the comparison there you go, the polygon is exactly the same, and the attributes as well, of course, exactly the same. The only difference being is Benjamin Taylor is a centimetre bigger at 173, whereas George is at 172. I believe that's like 5'9", 5'10", for any of you who work in feet and inches, like myself. And then, of course, Benjamin Taylor, the left back, is left-footed only, and George, the right back, is right-footed only. So we're going to see them both play for Bath City through their careers, and we're both going to see them progress through the leagues, go into big clubs, you'd expect. Will they both reach their potential? I'd like to think so. Without further ado, let's go a year into the future. Right, we've got some signings on the go. We've got current ability moving through the gears, and we've got positional changes, or retraining of positions. So let's start with George, shall we? He's gone to Leeds United for 2.1k in after add-ons. He played 30 times for Bath, 3 goals, 4 assists, 4 player of the matches. His milestones: he was bought by Leeds under-18s for 2.1k on the 31st of the 1st. Oh, he moved on deadline day in January, and he's not done anything at Leeds. That's really disappointing. He was absolutely killing it for Bath City. Benjamin, on the other hand, well, he moved for 3k outright. No, he moved for 2.1k outright, 3k overall. He's gone to Sunderland, which, again, deadline day. Both of them moved on deadline day. Very weird. He was playing just as well at left back. 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 player of the matches. The numbers are slightly different, but they're both getting in the 7s for a Vanarama South team. Bath City, then, they were and still are in the Vanarama National League South. Unfortunately, they only finished 5th. I wonder what happened to them in the second half of the season. Well, they did draw a lot and lose quite a few up until that point anyway. So I wouldn't say them leaving was a catalyst for them to fall out of the playoff automatic promotion picture. Who knows if they were in there anyway? But they left at the end of January and then they went on, just similar sort of form. Don't think it made a world of difference. But they are in the championship at different clubs. So you've got George, who's now been retrained as a little bit of a wing back and an attacking midfield right. Is some of his attribute points being taken up by those? Possibly. He's on 96 current ability. Benjamin, on the other hand, 94. Makeshift wing back left and an awkward attacking midfield left. So arguably more attribute points being taken up with that. We compare the two. Well, as you can see, Benjamin Taylor, his speed is better in terms of the polygon. There's a few differences in the attributes. I mean, dribbling, first touch, pace, anticipation, and vision for Benjamin. Whereas George has gone and got the decisions, the leadership, the positioning, and the agility. George has grown 2 centimetres to 174. Benjamin's grown just the centimetres to 174. But he's had a few more pies because he weighs 5 kilo more. Benjamin hasn't been capped at national level yet, and neither has George. But they've not even reached 100 current ability, so I'm not expecting them to. I'm expecting now they're at Leeds and Sunderland, hopefully to get a few loan moves under their belt and actually move through the gears in terms of their abilities. So yeah, we're going to go through 2 more years now to 2026 to see how they're getting on and have they had some loan moves and have they moved up through the current ability points. But before we do that, if you're new around here, please do subscribe to the channel. I've made an absolute meteoric rise from 3,500 to 4,000 subscribers in the last week. At the time of recording, I've just ticked over 4,000 subscribers, which is insane to even get it this year. Never mind at the start of December when I'm recording it. Whenever this comes out, probably closer towards Christmas. But if you're new around here, like I say, please do subscribe. I'm making that big push for 5,000 subscribers, and the way things are going, by the time this comes out, we'll be well on our way. So yeah, keep that momentum going, please. Okay, well, where do we start? I'd say let's start with Benjamin, who's no longer at Sunderland. He has swapped the red and white of Sunderland for the red and white of Brentford. And he moved for £11 million, ladies and gentlemen. He's now unconvincing as an attacking midfielder left. So they're persistently playing him there. And Sunderland went down. And in Sky Bet League One last season, he played 26 times, 24 of those starts, helping them to gain promotion. I mean, I've just made that up. I've got no idea if they went up. Did they go up? They did went up as winners. They went up as actual league winners. So that saves my blushes because I just said it helps them gain promotion. I had no context for it. It just came out of my mouth. I've had about 2 hours sleep, ladies and gentlemen. Very delirious. Right. He's helped them gain promotion. He's as a squad option left back, only playing half the games though, but still a very useful player for them. And he's been sold to Brentford for, as I say, £11 million. Big move for him. He's now found himself in the Premier League with a Premier League side. George, on the other hand, is still at Leeds and still in the Championship, and he's not playing. Leeds haven't played him. They bought him, didn't play him. The following season, didn't play him at all until January, once in the Cup, a couple of times in non-competitive games. Then Preston came in from League One and said, we'll have him on loan. Paid 30k for him. Loan monthly cost 3k. And yeah, he played once. Off the bench as well. So what was the point? And then he's come back to Leeds at 26, 27. That's this season. So will he play him? I'd like to think so. Doing the Championship, and Brentford have just signed Benjamin from League One or going into the Championship. So, you know, George is at 122 current ability, Benjamin at 128. If we have a quick compare of the two brothers, well, Benjamin has taken that early lead in terms of the polygon. He is dwarfing George through the speed, vision, and attacking zones of this graphic. And in terms of the actual attributes, well, there's a lot that are different, and very few that are actually the same now. Now we've got to the tender age of 19. We're about to just turned 19. And as you can see, Benjamin's worth 28 to 85 million, whereas George is just worth 9 to 27. That's probably to do with the fact that Benjamin is now a Premier League player and just been signed for £11 million, whereas George is still in the Championship. But is being in the Championship going to bode well for him? Because realistically, is Benjamin going to play for Brentford this season? Thomas Frank, has he got another left back? Have a look at your positions. Rico Henry is your left back there, and Aaron Hickey. Both players are much better. Both players are much better than him at the moment. So he's probably not going to get much game time. He's actually probably in the under 21s, is he? He's in the under 18s. In the under 18s when he's 19. Right, that's got to have to change. Okay, so he's gone up with Sunderland and it's been sold. That's the top and bottom of this check-in. Should we go another 2 years? Let's go to 2028 and see how they're faring then. Okay, there is 10 attribute points between them now. Benjamin at Brentford at 147. George at Leeds still at 137. So let's check in on Benjamin first. He's been on loan to Coventry, where he played 17 times in the Championship, getting a 7.26. Then he's come back and he's played 14 times for Brentford. 7 starts, 7 off the bench. He's starting to get into the Brentford side. And that is very, very satisfying indeed. He's rounding out to be quite the player. I mean, they've played him as wing-back right as a makeshift player. He's got 10 under 21 caps as well, I've just noticed. I think he signed a new deal. He was on about 6,700, I think, before. And I don't know if his deal expired in 2031, unless he's got a wage rise and that maths it out. Yearly wage rise of 5%? No. Oh, after reaching club league games, probably had something in at 15 and he's played 14. So that doesn't work, does it? George Taylor then, 137. What's happened here then? Shambolic Preston loan. He came back to Leeds, and between then and January, he barely featured. The QPR said, we'll have him from League One, where he did play 16 times for them in the second half of that season. He's then come back to Leeds, who are now a Premier League side, no less, so they've gone up without him. Unfortunately, he's only played once for them, and then he's gone to Nottingham Forest on loan, where he has featured 23 times, no less. So he's played a lot for Nottingham Forest and a lot for QPR. He's definitely Championship standard now. He's not quite Premier League standard, or he's not quite good enough to be in the Leeds side, according to Philippe Clement, but he's there. Oh, he is there. 1 attribute point worse off than Pedro Malheiro, who is currently playing. Well. Very interesting. Okay, so is this going to be his breakthrough season in the Premier League? He's got 321 caps as George. And how did he do at Forest then? He got promoted as champions from the Championship with Forest. He was also promoted in 2027 from the Championship with Leeds, although he'd gone to QPR. So how does that count? I'm not sure. it's a bit of a grey area. He probably came back before it ticked over and he's organically got a promotion. Although he won't have come back before 22nd of May. Just been in the seasonal best 11 for Coventry and Brentford, to be fair. Although he's actually been named on the bench. Benjamin Taylor, there he is. Not as good as Aaron Hickey, who played 37 times that season. Well, there you go. 21 years old then, 10 points separate the pair of them. Let's go to 2030. Nice round number of 2030, another 2 years. There's a lot to unpack here. The first thing I'm going to unpack is Benjamin Taylor is on international duty. George isn't, okay? That's your first thing we're unpacking. Benjamin's on international duty, George is not. Looking at Benjamin, he's not been capped for England. Is that under 21s? That's the full England side. What I can only assume is they have got enough left backs. So they've got enough right backs. Trent and Reece James and Ben White. Yeah, unfortunate. Because George has never been capped at right back. Ben in the squad, but never capped at left back. So Ben's still at Brentford. Let's have a quick look over his attributes. Looking very good indeed. And his career stats, well, the last time we were here was the 14-game season with 7 starts, 7 off the bench. Then he's gone 22 starts and 5 off the bench. And then last season, he played 38 games, starting all 38 games, getting a 7.16 in a season when Brentford in 29-30 managed to finish 13th. How underwhelming. Build it up thinking they're going to do something good. George, on the other hand, though, he's gone to Newcastle, and they're both at 165 current ability. So George or Ben, whichever one it was, has caught them up. There was 10 attribute points between them, which I literally was about 2 minutes ago, and I forgot. I think it was George who was lower, wasn't he? Because he was being wasted at Leeds. Speaking of being wasted at Leeds, he was not wasted at Leeds the final season he was there. He became ever present in the Premier League, playing 38 times, scoring a singular goal with an assist and 3 player of the matches. Before Newcastle, Moneybags Newcastle came knocking for £37 million. Leeds said yes, and up to Newcastle he went, where he played 36 times for Newcastle in the most recent season, all of them being starts. And as we've just looked, I think Newcastle have got Champions League football. They finished 3rd, 11 points behind City, so quite a way away, but very tight between Arsenal and Tottenham for those Champions League places. Although 6 teams have got it because Chelsea are in there as well. Someone's won the Europa League, someone's probably won the Champions League, something like that. We'll see. Oh, it's Man City. Man City have won it, yeah, in 29-30. After Arsenal won it the year before, Man City have won 4 in a row. Three in a row to start the save game. One, of course, was in real life. So he's made the big move for £37 million, and he's managed to consolidate a place in the Newcastle side. And well, it's all kicked off here. In the season, he was ever present for Leeds, and he was in the seasonal best 11. 1 second. Where is he? Not there. Says he's in the seasonal best 11 on the 15th of the 5th, 2029. I couldn't see him there for some reason. But they got relegated from the Premier League, and one can only assume that was his minimum fee release clause, or relegation release clause, should I say. £37 million. He's gone to Newcastle, and they've only gone and won the FA Cup, beating Crystal Palace in the final, with Rodrigo Ribeiro scoring in the 81st minute. £34 million from Sporting he cost them a few years ago. Well, first blood to George then, getting a trophy under his belt, but not good enough to get in the England squad. Both at 165, neither of them capped. That is an absolute... I've just realised that. 165 current ability, and they can't get capped for the national team. How good are England's fullbacks? By the time we come back, which will be in 2 more years' time, I think, Benjamin Taylor's contract expires in 2033. He will have outgrown Brentford by then. We're going to go 2 years, because I think he's going to force a move. I think he's going to want to leave, and he's going to force a move in the next couple of years. So we'll be back in 2032. Okay, so he has not forced a move. He's still at Brentford. Benjamin Taylor, how are you getting on? Oh, we never looked at the polygons comparison, did we? We will do it this time. We'll do it now. We'll do it now because there's 2 attribute points between them before we forget. Get sidetracked. That's what happens here on the channel if you're new around here. Get segued, get waylaid, and just forget. So here we go. Benjamin Taylor. Benjamin with the mental edge, but unfortunately speed, vision and attacking all go to George, his sibling, who's getting £275,000 a week at Newcastle, whereas Benjamin is on 125k a week at Brentford. He is a star player, but at 25 years old, you'd think he'd want to move and get some trophies under his belt, because he's not going to do it at Brentford, is he? And as you can see here, look at some of the attribute point changes. the differentiation. Really rounding out to be slightly different players, despite the fact that they're twins. I did even make them twins in the game as well. I forgot to mention this at the start, but I'll mention it now. If we go to personal details, we look at favourite people. Benjamin Taylor is there as a sibling, as is the other way round. Put George on Benjamin's profile as a sibling. 17 caps and a goal for England for George Taylor. Eddie Howe is in charge of England. Jude Bellingham at PSG. What's happened there? 237 million. PSG paid 237 million pounds for Jude Bellingham 2 years after he went to Real Madrid. There's Jacob Ramsey at Barca, Emil Smith-Rowe at Lazio, Harvey Elliott at Napoli. Jacob Ramsey becomes very good. He does become very good. Highly recommend him for your saves. £81 million Barcelona had to pay for him. No international trophies for England as yet, though, so the youngsters have not managed to win anything on an international scale. In terms of Benjamin, though, he is still a mercenary. A phenomenal talent, but he's still here. He's actually signed a new deal to 2035. His deal would have been expiring next year at 26 years old, the peak of his career, where he could have gone anywhere in the world he wanted. He's going to stay at Brentford. Maybe he's happy. Maybe he's settled. George, on the other hand, still at Newcastle, and are Newcastle doing quite well? He's doing well for Newcastle. Let's look at the milestones. Well, Newcastle we saw them win the FA Cup. The following season, he got his first international cap. Then he was a Carabao Cup winner, a Premier Division champion, and an FA Cup winner, a domestic treble in this season. And unfortunately, the last season was there, Man City have won the league. Newcastle down in 3rd. Brentford all the way down in 11th. But the season they won it, his brother was 12th with Brentford. And they won it by 8 points as well from City. Absolutely annihilated the league there. Fair play to him. And George has got 17 caps and a goal. Benjamin, 16 caps and no goals. So they're keeping pace with each other internationally. But it did take them a while to get going. But they're at 186 and 188. Surely they're both going to get to 200 or 199 or whatever it is. Because if sometimes when you get to 199, if you're going to improve an attribute point that would take you over 200, it won't, and you'll just get locked at 199. So like acceleration or pace or something, because they are massive in terms of the current ability weighted points that it gives you. Anyway, in 2032 they're 25. I think we're going to go to 2034, so they'll be 27, another 2 years, because I want to see who gets there first, really. Well, they are at 198 and 199 respectively, and here we go. Benjamin Taylor is away on international duty, wanted by United, and wants to leave for continental football. About bloody time, Benjamin. George is at Newcastle. Has he won any more trophies? He's done a hell of a lot of money. He's been ever present for them. He's been an absolute phenomenal talent ever since he arrived for £37 million from Leeds. In terms of the milestones, after the domestic treble, they've won the Euros with England, but he's won nothing with Newcastle. Defender of the season, there you go. Defender of the season in the Champions League, but that's nothing really to write home about. I suppose it's a personal accolade. But winning the Euros with England, well played, England. Who won it for them? Eddie Howe. And look at that. The twins are playing right back and left back. Very satisfying to see. Absolutely love it. But Benjamin is at 199. He's still at Brentford, as we discussed. Again, playing a lot. You'd expect so. He's absolutely phenomenal talent. If we do compare to George, Benjamin's got the better physicals. George has got the better speed. And in terms of attacking, the edge goes to George. And technically, it goes to Benjamin. 198 and 199 respectively. There's nothing in it. There's absolutely nothing in it. Although George does look the better player from this screen to a degree. But he wants to leave for continental football. And unhappy about failing to reach the FA Cup's latter stages, apparently. I'm in the way, but that's what it says down here. He's had another pay rise, 140k. And he's got another year on his contract. Minimum fee release clause of £91 million. He's got a wage rise of like 5%. That could be why he's on more money than he was. But he's not. He's 2036. He's got another year on it. Will he force that move through? He's asked to leave. He's wanted. 2035. Let's go to 2035 and see if he's forced to move through. He didn't force that move through. He's now wanted by Tottenham. He's not kicking off saying I want to leave. Will he leave on a free? Surely not. We're going to go straight through to 2036 now. He's still at Brentford. He's joining West Ham on the 1st of the 7th, 2036. Joining West Ham. Still 198 and 199 respectively, so they've stayed the same in terms of their current ability. 29 years young now in terms of the Premier League. Current Premier League champions Newcastle. He's won it again as George Taylor. George has got his second Premier League trophy, this time winning it by 5 points ahead of Manchester United in second, City in third, Spurs and Liverpool making up 4th and 5th on 71 points. Brentford down in 13th. Benjamin needs to leave. He has to get out. The milestones, well, apart from being just in the seasonal best 11 and just being voted one of Brentford's best players, it's all international accolades. And as we saw, they'd won the Euros. They've only gone and won the bloody World Cup, haven't they, in 2034? They've won the World Cup 2034. Ramis is now in charge. Eddie Howe, what happened to Eddie Howe? He resigned to go and be unemployed. He actually resigned to go and become the manager of Nice. Didn't actually get the job as... He resigned as the England manager on the 23rd of July, probably after an international tournament. He probably just won the World Cup and went, mic drop, bang, and then got hired as the Nice manager a month later, or about 2 weeks later. Nothing for Benjamin Taylor. George Taylor, as we saw, he's won another Premier League with Newcastle. They've won another FA Cup as well in 2035. How many FA Cups is that? 3 FA Cups, a runner-up on the FA Cup as well in the season before last. The season before Newcastle won it. They got to the final, lost in the semis. It's what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. You can see it on the screen. You can see how it could be open to interpretation. Right. We are in a position now where Benjamin Taylor is about to join West Ham. So I'm going to go through 1 year to 2037 and see how he gets on in his first season with the Mighty Hammers. Well, Saudi Arabia want Benjamin Taylor. He's only just gone to West Ham. They're both model professionals as well. Their hidden attributes have improved greatly. So we're going to look at Benjamin Taylor. He is on 245k a week, 30 years young. He is fantastic as a player. Move for free. That is one loyalty right there, isn't it? One loyalty. You did keep him for a lot longer than I anticipated he'd be there, though. He did squander the best portion of his career at Brentford. No offence, Brentford, but you've won nothing. West Ham in their first season, where did they finish? 7th, getting Champions League football, which is from a Europa League win. West Ham won the Europa League 2-0 against AS Monaco in the final. Rasmus Højlund, Benjamin Taylor there, getting a 7.4 in the final. Ever dependable Benjamin Taylor. Well done, winning a Europa League. George, on the other hand, Champions League Defender of the Season, Community Shield, they won the Euros, won the Premier League, FA Cup. So they won the Euros again, England, in 2036. Back-to-back Euros, beating the Netherlands in the final. Ryan Urquhart with the goal. Okay, I don't think West Ham are going to win the league. What's the Premier Division saying? What's the season preview? Newcastle finished 2nd, they're predicted to finish 4th. West Ham actually predicted to finish 6th. So do you know what? There's not tons in it between Newcastle and West Ham. But 2-0 up in terms of Premier League trophies. He's won a few Carabao Cups and FA Cups. West Ham have won the Europa League. Newcastle haven't been in the Europa League. They've been in the Champions League. So that feels a little bit skewed. But I'm sure plenty of weird things will happen between now and the end. So let's not delve too deep into it right now. They're 30 years old. Let's go to 2040, 3 years from now, and see how they're both getting on. Okay, both still there. Benjamin down at 195. George still at 198. They look like they're starting to decline. First thing I noticed is 114 caps for George now with 5 goals. And just look how good he is. Look how good he is. In terms of his career stats, he's been at Newcastle for many, many years and played almost every single game for them. Over 500 career appearances in the league now in all competitions. For all teams. And well, they've won back-to-back Champions Leagues. They won the FA Cup in 2038 and he won the Champions League in 2038. They've also won it in 2039 and then now West Ham have won it. So in the last 3 years, we've had 2 for Newcastle and 1 for West Ham. Madness. Absolute madness. Newcastle and West Ham 4th and 5th respectively in that first season with them both at the clubs. Then West Ham leapfrogged Newcastle, getting 4th themselves by a singular point. Newcastle down in 5th, and then that last season, Newcastle and West Ham 6th and 7th respectively. But West Ham getting Champions League football from 7th because they went and bloody won the thing. So no league titles for Benjamin, but he's won a Champions League. George's 2 Champions Leagues. 106 caps for Benjamin as well. I've just seen that. 106 caps. So they're very, very close in terms of accolades there. The international duty that he is on is Euros. Yeah, the Euros is currently going on as we speak, the 2040 Euros, and he's there playing right back. Ricky Dhaliwal is having to play left back, and he's not good enough, is he? Not as good as Benjamin Taylor. We will be closing on the end of their careers right now. I'm sure one of them's going to go to Saudi Arabia any minute. So let's just quickly jump back in at 2042. And he has gone to Saudi Arabia as George. He left Newcastle on a free after all those years playing for the club. He couldn't even give them a bit of money. 1.8 million a week he's getting at Al Hilal. Let that be known. 1 season he's played there. He probably will retire. What's his contract saying? His contract's expiring now. He'll probably retire. Genuinely. Have all that money, then he'll just retire. That's what happens at the minute on this FM. If they go to Saudi Arabia, they probably come back and retire. They don't really go back to other clubs. Benjamin's still at West Ham. Tottenham and United have won the league the last 2 years. And for the last 2 years, West Ham have finished 2nd by 2 and then 3 points. So not a lot in it. They've done really, really well. Can he nick a league in the last couple of years? Could he? Could he even things up a little bit? He's slightly below his brother. Benjamin's done worse than George, and George is going to have gone for a big payday. He's actually a worse player now at 177 comfortability. Let's go to 2043 and see what happens there. Right, so George has gone. He did leave. Benjamin's wanted by Saudi Arabia, and quite rightly so. And there you go. Well, can you believe it? 2 times in a row they were second, and they've only gone and won it, taking it off Manchester United in the 2042-43 season. West Ham United have won the Premier League with Benjamin Taylor playing 31 times for them. Still an absolutely phenomenal talent. Is he still playing for England? He's still in the England squad. His brother's retired from the whole game, never mind just England. Do you think he'll play on 2044? He is still there. He's gone to Saudi Arabia and now he's retiring. Okay, he's gone to Saudi Arabia. 1.2 mil a week. He's getting considerably less. 237 games for West Ham. He nearly played for West Ham as long as he did for Brentford, to be fair. So he only jumped to 1 year. So West Ham did win the league, and then he's gone to Saudi Arabia to earn a bit of cash. They won the FA Cup and Carabao Cup as well during the 2043 season, so he did win those trophies to go alongside the Premier League, and he's also got another World Cup in 2042. If we look at George Taylor, he'd retired by 2042, so he did not win the World Cup, so he's got a World Cup less. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? The story of their careers, he had 1 extra Champions League, 1 extra Premier League, probably a couple of extra FA Cups and League Cups. Got more money when he went to Saudi, but he didn't win as many World Cups. Arguably the biggest prize in football. Who did better, George or Benjamin? Let me know in the comments down below. That's the end of today's experiment. I hope you had a good time. Should we have a quick look before we go? Actually, let's just have a look at the Golden Ball. Has anyone won the Golden Ball? No, it's been Kylian Mbappe all the way through. Player of the Year? No. Footballer of the Year? Yeah, no. Team of the Year? No. All seasons? Oh, George Taylor is in there. George Taylor is in all seasons for the Champions League because he did pretty well for Newcastle and probably played in it a lot more than his brother because he was stuck at Brentford. And that's the thing. He was stuck at Brentford and people weren't willing to pay huge money for a fullback because they're not glamorous enough, are they? That's what I thought might happen. And he ended up having to leave on a free, having signed an extension for a few years, which really handcuffed his career. Had he not signed that extension, I think he might have had a better career because he did terrifically well to catch up in the latter stages, winning the league with West Ham and the Champions League. I think that's more impressive considering that Newcastle have a plethora of money at the start. They're just untapped gold mine, aren't they? They're expected to win everything within a few years on Football Manager. So the fact that they did it was no real shock, but West Ham doing it was a bit of an eyebrow raiser, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Well, that is it for today's experiment. I hope you had a good time. Nice little fun one. If you've got any ideas for other things that you want me to do in this sort of style or any other style at all, please do let me know in the comments down below. Like I said earlier, we are pushing for 5,000 subscribers, and yeah, we could be there at any point. It could slow that right down, it could be months, or it could just keep going as it's going. We'll be there next week, which will be insane. So subscribe while you're here. There's lots more coming to the channel, and there's lots more already there. But most importantly, take good care of yourselves, gang. I'll see you soon.